Born in New York, he rose from senior White House aide to New York corporate lawyer. His legal prowess led him to head one of the nation's largest thrift institutions. His business acumen, wit, and wisdom propelled him to become CEO of the world's largest media and entertainment company. His career speaks for itself. The History Makers, the nation's largest African-American video oral history archive, is proud to present An Evening with Richard Parsons. And now to our host, journalist and TV anchor, Miss Soledad O'Brien.
I am happy and honored to be here to celebrate the life and career of one of the most significant corporate leaders of our time. His name is Richard Parsons. Let's take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Richard Parsons to the stage. It is an honor to have an opportunity to sit down and do this interview with you because you've had a tremendous career. We all know you, of course, as the giant behind Time Warner, and you're my boss, too. So on all those fronts, thanks a bunch for me to talk to you tonight. But I would like to start this conversation from the very beginning. So let's go back to 1948. Tell me about your mom and dad.
My mom and dad. My dad was from Virginia. He was the oldest of 8 children and had grown up in Newport News, Virginia. Went to Hampton University, which was Hampton College in those days, and then came north looking for work. My mother was born in Tarrytown, New York. She was the last of 6 children. She really grew up in Brooklyn, and so they met in New York, married, and they had 5 children. I'm the second of the 5.
You grew up in Bed-Stuy. What do you remember about Bed-Stuy?
Actually, a lot, because I was, small boys and baseball, right? There's just something, I don't know, there's something in the chemistry. I was a huge Dodger fan. We lived on Pacific in Bedford, and Ebbets Field was like 6 or 8 blocks up Bedford Avenue, and my father used to take me to games, and I had an Aunt Lou who was infirm, and so she couldn't get out of the house much. She was in a wheelchair, and she listened to every Dodger game religiously, and I became a huge Dodger fan. And I remember going up to Ebbets Field, and I remember the block. We lived on a block where, life unfolded in just this one block. You had good guys, bad guys, characters, hustlers, ministers. We had a hospital, we had an armory, we had everything on our block. So you didn't have to go out the block to find out about the world.
Was your family well off, working class? What?
Well, we always considered ourselves working class. Now, the dirty little secret was that everybody was poor. But so what we really were, if statistically, or if you talk to the economists, we were part of the working poor. But we were working, right? They had money coming in, and they had to watch it carefully. And until when we moved, my older sister, who was born in Harlem, and I was born in Brooklyn, my parents lived in sort of rental units. And then in the mid-'50s, my father bought a house out in Queens for the princely sum, I think, of $11,900. And we moved to the promised land, which was South Jamaica.
And what was that like?
Ooh.
Going from Bed-Stuy to South Jamaica?
Well, it was, first of all, we thought of it as the country. Like unbelievable. I mean, it wasn't a store on the corner like in Brooklyn. You could go, as I said, everything was on the block, including stores. Queens back in the early 50s, mid to early 50s, was still very rural and was still being developed. It was like a boy's paradise because you could, there were swamps and stuff like that.